Hello Year 4, it's Mrs. Cross again. I'm here with your computing lesson for Thursday the 19th of November. I'm just going to share my screen with you. So we are learning to collect, organise and present data using Excel. So this is a recap of what you've already been learning that you will probably remember doing a task very similar a couple of weeks ago. But today we'd like you to do this independently and show us what you have remembered, show us what you've learned. So as I said, you had a go at working in pairs a couple of weeks ago to organise data in Excel. Just pause the video for a moment and see if you can cast your mind back and remember exactly what you did. What were we organising in Excel? What did we use it for? Okay, I have pasted in a copy of one of the pieces of work from that lesson a few weeks ago. This is Stowe class's example. So Fairford, I think you possibly collected slightly different information, but the lesson would have been the same. So this is data on shapes. So we have got the name of the shape down here in our Excel table: circle, hexagon, triangle, square, hexagon and heptagon. I've got hexagon twice. We've got the number of sides, the number of vertices, and the number of lines of symmetry. So I collected all of that information and I input it, I recorded it in Excel. So we recorded information in Excel. It's great for doing that. We organised our information by putting it into the table format. Okay, and then we presented it. We turned it into graphs that could be interpreted and analysed. So Excel is great for easily presenting information for analysis, okay, for working out what that data shows. So we would like you to do exactly the same today. So you are going to collect some data. It's totally up to you what data you collect, as long as it's numerical, it's based on numbers. Okay. You are going to organise that data into Excel, and then you are going to turn that into a graph and do some analysis on that graph, or on those graphs, several graphs. Okay. Some of you may not have Excel. If you don't have Excel, okay, that's fine. Don't worry, you won't be able to do this task. However, your parents might have a Gmail account. If you've got a Gmail account, there is a program on there called Google Sheets. Google Sheets, SHEETF. That works just like Excel. So if you can get access to a Gmail account, okay, and go onto your Google Drive, you should be able to access Google Sheets, and you can use Excel that way. If you haven't got access to either of those, then you are welcome to watch the rest of the video, but you are not expected to complete the task. So, I put some suggestions below of some information you might like to collect, but you might have a much better idea. You might have a better imagination than me. So I have suggested perhaps you could watch 5 minutes of television and you could count how many people you can see with different hair colours. So make yourself a tally chart and tally up how many people with brown hair, how many people with blonde hair, how many people with red hair, etc. that you see within 5 minutes. Or you might like to go around each room of your house with a tally chart and count how many books can you find in each room. So how many in the living room, how many in your bedroom, how many in your parents or whoever looks after you's bedroom. And make sure you get permission to go into the rooms. You might like to look outside your window. Give yourself a time period, so maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. It depends how busy the road is outside your window. And you might like to count how many red cars you see, how many yellow cars, how many green cars, etc. So do a car count. Another idea I had, you might like to open up your pencil case. How many pencils or pens do you have which are red? How many pink? How many green? Okay. It's entirely up to you what you collect that data on. Just make sure the answer is a number. Once you've collected that data on your piece of paper, You then need to present it in Excel. So you're going to open an Excel sheet and you're going to present the data. So I went around my house and I went to each room and I counted how many books I've got in each room. You'll be able to see that I do love books. It's one of my special interests. So I've got 25 in my living room. I've got 200 in my kitchen dining room. And I went around and I counted how many books are in each room. I put that into my Excel sheet. I then highlighted the data. So I clicked on this top left-hand cell and I held down my mouse and I dragged to highlight the data. I then went to Insert at the top, so the Insert tab, and I clicked on one of the graphs. Okay. I can then use that to represent my data. Okay. I chose the pie chart, sorry, not the pie chart, the bar graph. You can see the bar graph below. What you need to do when you've done that is just think about whether the graph that you have chosen makes your data easy to read. What can you tell from that graph? Now, I can tell that I have got the greatest number of books in my kitchen and dining room. That's because I've got bookcases around the edge of my dining room. So I've got the greatest number of books in my kitchen and dining room. And I've got no books, because there's no bar on my graph, in either of my toilet rooms or in my bathroom, as you might expect. I then tried a different graph and I did a pie chart, and I'm now looking at my pie chart and thinking, does that represent my data well? Yeah, I think I can see from my pie chart that this big orange section of my pie chart, my kitchen diner, that's where I've got the greatest number of books. Okay. Once you've finished that and you've put your data into Excel and you've come up with a few different graphs, so try out a few different types, see which ones you think are most suitable, I would then like you to write a sentence explaining which chart you think represents your data best and why. I think the pie chart probably works best for this data because it allows me to really, really quickly see which room has the greatest number of books. However, actually, the bar chart gives me the numbers so I can see exactly how many books are in each room. So I think there's pros and cons for both. So before I leave you today, I'm just going to share my screen with you and give you view of my Excel sheet, and I'm going to let you watch me do this on Excel. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same thing again on Excel, just so you can see. I've got a blank Excel sheet. I'm going to go for room and number of books. What I'm going to do, because these are quite narrow columns, these are called columns across the top where you've got your alphabet. These are narrow columns. I'd like to make them wider. So I'm going to click next to the A and drag my column across to give me a bit more room to write. I'm going to do the same with my B column. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag it across. And I'm also going to click on my, my first cell here. This is called A1. Click on my first cell, hold down my mouse, drag across, select both cells, and I'm going to make that writing bold because it's the headings on my table. So let's make this up. So living room, kitchen, dining room. I'm going to make up my numbers now. My bedroom, and then I'm going to put sister's bedroom. Make sure you get permission before you go into other people's rooms. Brother's bedroom and bathroom. Okay, let's say in my living room I've got 8 books. In my kitchen I've got 4 books. In my dining room I've got 2 books. In my bedroom I've got 12 books. In my sister's bedroom she's got 9. My brother's got 11, and I have no books in my bathroom. Okay, so I've presented my data in Excel now. I now need to turn it into some graphs. So I'm going to click on my top left-hand cell. I'm going to hold down my mouse and I'm going to drag the cross over all of the data that I'd like to use for my graphs. I'm then going to go to Insert and I'm going to choose a graph. So I'm going to go with that one. There we are. It's really important that my graph has got a heading. So I'm going to put number of books in each room. Okay, now I've done that one. I'm just going to click and drag it over in that direction so I can do another one. I'm going to highlight my data, go to Insert, and I'm going to do a pie chart now. I'm going to drag it where I want it. Number of books, oops, whoops. Try again, number of books in each room. Okay, I then might want to do another one. If I wanted to do another one, I'd go back to Insert and I'd try another form of graph. Ooh, let me see. This looks interesting. Oh, it won't let me create that one. So you will find that some graphs are not suitable for the type of data that we have input. Let's try that one. Oh, that's a different type of graph. Okay, so create a variety of different types of graphs, and then I'd like you to write me a sentence about which one you think is best and why. Here we are. Okay, coming back to my slides now, so I'm going to stop sharing with you for a moment. Okay, so if you have access to Excel or Google Sheets, you may now start collecting your data, organizing and presenting your data. When you have done that, we would love to see a picture of what you have done, or even if you can save it as a PDF and you can send us the PDF, that's another way of getting it to us. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you have done and the ideas that you have come up with. Well done, Year 4. I will see you soon. Bye.